Now, the trial of the 5 men charged with Senzo Meyiwa's murder will continue tomorrow morning from 9:30. Police Sergeant Thabo Mosia was the first witness testifying today. He details some of the evidence found at the crime scene. Our reporter, Slindelo Masikane, was in court. She's following this trial very closely. Slindelo, very good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for your time. Just take us through what was heard in court today, so to speak, the highlights.
Well, Bradan, I think South Africans, the Meyiwa family in particular, will be glad to know that the trial is really officially underway, with the state calling its first witness. That is Sergeant Thabo Mosia. He is actually one of the forensic officers who was called to the scene. He was on standby on that fateful evening, and he was called at around 1:45 midnight after Senzo Meyiwa was shot, and he was one of the first to be collecting evidence on that scene. He was met by officers who were called, and they took him through what they had found. He said that he had found the scene cordoned off, and he began to do a walkthrough to try and find whatever they could in terms of trying to paint a picture as to what transpired. He mentioned some of the items which were found, such as a hat, a fragmented bullet, as well as a walking stick, which he said he took for safekeeping, while the provincial task team was then called to come and continue with the investigations. Let's take a listen.
Okay, at this stage, the bite is not ready, Slindelo, but let's just move on to the other issue which happened just before 4 o'clock, which was around accused number 3 safety in jail, because there's been allegations of torture. Okay, let's take a listen to that bite before we carry on to talk about accused number 3.
To 124,
page 96.
Page 96 indicates the kitchen top with 2 glass jars and other kitchen items.
Uthi ke lesithombe lesi i124 lesitholakala ku page number 96 sikhomba yona i-kitchen top lapho khona ke lama glass jars kanokunye okukhona okusetshenziswa lapha e-kitchen.
Page 125. Sorry, my lord. Photo 125 indicates the 2 glass jars on the kitchen unit top.
Le photo i125 ibonisa ke lama glass jars amabili aphezulu kwale kitchen top
with exhibit number 1 placed on both jars.
Futhi kiyo lama glass jars amabili ke ku place exhibit number 1.
And photo 126 indicates exhibit 1 placed where the 2 jars were removed from on the kitchen top.
Lesithombe lesi i126 la kule page 97 siyakhomba ke la kubhalwe khona exhibit number 1 ngobusheli, lapho kuveza ukuthi kulapho sushe khona lama glass jar amabili,
and a bullet hole indicated by arrow sticker.
And futhi umgodi ke walo ukule uyabonakala lapho uvezwa ngayo inkombe noma i-arrow sticker.
Page 120, photo 127 indicates the close-up photo of a projectile found behind the 2 jars marked exhibit 1.
Okay, what else was of interest that came out today, Slindelo?
So you would have heard in terms of, like I mentioned in my earlier answer, Bradan, that there was some bullets which were found, one which was fragmented and could not be tested, as well as a hat that was found and a walking stick. But also what was noted by police officers was that there were some alcoholic beverages at the scene as well. Let's take a listen.
Photo 113 indicates the close-up photo of the sealed DC collection kit with kit number 13 DC AC 8728.
La kule photo number 113 ikhomba kahle ke isithombe esithuthulwe eduze sakhuliswa futhi salokho okuvalekile side DC collection kit number yakhona ithi 13 DC AC 8728.
And photo 114 indicates the opened evidence collection kit number 13 DC AC 8728 a Smirnoff 250 milliliter can and a Heineken 440 milliliter and Heineken 440 milliliter.
Now, just before the adjournment for tomorrow, just before 4 o'clock, Slindelo, the judge was discussing the issue around accused number 3. That issue of his safety in jail came up again. Tell us about that.
So when we adjourned last week, Dan, there was a lot of concern coming from the defense about the safety and security of accused number 3, who's also popularly known as Carlos. He's also the suspect in which the gun, which has been identified to have been the one that shot Senzo Meyiwa, that gun was allegedly found at the home of his girlfriend, of the home that he shared rather with his girlfriend. And what we understand is that he's been kept at the Khosumampuru maximum security prison. And the defense is saying that on a constant basis, he's being tortured, he's being assaulted, and he actually might not make it out alive throughout this trial if he is not moved at least to another prison or to a cell block within the Khosumampuru prison where he can be safe or have his safety rather guaranteed. And so what we saw then transpiring was a correctional services official, the head of internal security at Khosumampuru, that's Mr. Charles Matebula, taking to the stand to explain exactly why accused number 3 is being kept at Khosumampuru, saying that his request to want to be taken to Sun City, they can't adhere to it because according to his classification, he should be kept at a maximum security prison. And so the judge then told Advocate Difo, who represents accused number 3, that he needs to take this up legally. If he wants to take correctional services to court, then he's more than welcome to do so. Another issue that was brought up by the advocate representing accused number 5 was the fact that he's also been kept in isolation at the prison where he's based. The judge also having the same sentiments for Advocate Mshololo, saying that if she has issues, then she should take up the legal processes.
Interesting to note when they used the word isolation, the judge said it reminded him of the old days of solitary confinement. Okay, back tomorrow in court, Slee?
We're back tomorrow in court, Dan, with the continuation of the trial. There's been a lot of issues around us starting on time as well as the accused making it here to court on time. It seems those issues have been ironed out, and the judge has requested that we start at 9:30 tomorrow morning.
Thank you very much, Slindelo Masikane, with that latest update there of the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial. Now, let's remind you of our top stories this hour on this Monday afternoon here on eNCA. GSTV channel 403. Closure for another KwaZulu-Natal family as disaster officials retrieve another body in Molweni from Umgeni River earlier this afternoon. A state prosecutor confirms that there's an internal investigation into the alleged assault and torture of one of the Senzo Meyiwa murder accused. That's accused number 3, who's properly known as Carlos. And the docket has now been opened with the police.